What if one day you become a giant of bodybuilding? Imagine being able to lift weights that seem to defy gravity, having a stage presence that leaves everyone breathless, being the benchmark for strength and size in a sport where discipline and dedication are key. It's a path full of sacrifices, relentless training, and precise nutrition. In a world where few manage to overcome the physical limits of the human body. It all sounds incredible, right? But what happens if one day steroids, your training, and your lifestyle take their toll on you? Hey, this is a new video from Bodybuilding World, and this is the sad end of Greg Kovacs. Subscribe and let's get started. In the world of bodybuilding, many giants emerge, some of them reaching impressive weights, exceeding 300 pounds. However, few have managed to reach truly extraordinary sizes, such as the case of a bodybuilder whose body mass exceeded 420 pounds, earning him the nickname, the Gentle Giant. This title was borne by Greg Kovacs, a Canadian bodybuilder who dazzled the bodybuilding industry not only with his enormous muscular size, but also with his astonishing strength. Greg was born on December 16, 1968 in St. Catharines, Canada, a city of about 15,000 inhabitants located near Niagara Falls and the United States border. Like most Canadian children, he played hockey, but at 17 he found a new love, bodybuilding. This is one of the times when I can say that a bodybuilder did not get into this sport because he looked small and too thin. At that age, and before he ever touched a weight, he was 6 feet tall and already weighed 238 pounds. So it would be an understatement to say that he was in his element in bodybuilding. And from his youth, he began lifting weights while playing hockey. However, he soon discovered that he was more passionate about weightlifting than hockey, so he decided to leave the sport and devote himself entirely to weightlifting. Although he was initially unclear about what bodybuilding entailed, such as getting on stage in competitions, he deeply enjoyed going to the gym, developing his body, and feeling the iron in his hands while training with extreme weights. With his height and weight at their peak, Kovacs became one of the most impressive bodybuilders of all time. By the late 1990s, he towered over most of his competitors, displaying more muscle mass than any other bodybuilder in history. His arms measured over 25 inches, his chest reached 131 inches wide, and his colossal legs exceeded 35 inches. Although physical development is possible for anyone with discipline, Kovacs believed that reaching his level required a large genetic load, a factor that he himself possessed in abundance. Not only was his size impressive, but so was his strength. Greg had a bench press of 699 pounds for 2 reps, a military press of 500 pounds, a bent-over row of 500 pounds, and a leg press of 265 pounds, making him the strongest bodybuilder of all time. In his career, he became aware of his strength when he entered a powerlifting contest in his hometown, and lifted a weight that he thought was easy to handle, repeating it 19 times. By that age, he was already surpassing the marks of the strongest lifters in the world, something that surprised him as he realized his potential. Greg Kovacs always took pride in lifting increasingly heavier loads, such as reaching 551 pounds in the bench press. However, few bodybuilders can claim that their training was so unconventional. Unlike most athletes in his discipline, much of his training routine was centered around the Smith machine, using a controlled load and performing few free weight exercises. In fact, one of the most fundamental exercises for any bodybuilder, the squat, was not part of his training regimen. This was due to his massive size, which made it difficult for him to perform the movement freely due to extreme pain, and with the additional weights, made it nearly impossible to perform. Greg Kovacs included a few basic exercises in his routine, but always with a focus on technique, and on the load he could handle without compromising his form. For biceps, he preferred exercises like the Scott curl, performing between 12 and 15 reps per set, the barbell curl with 8 to 10 reps, and the barbell hammer with a similar rep range. For triceps, His training included the triceps rope with 15 to 20 reps per set, the barbell extension with 10 to 12 reps, and the dumbbell triceps extensions, where he performed between 12 and 15 reps per set. Greg performed between 4 and 5 sets per exercise, always with the goal of perfecting technique and carefully observing the loads his body could withstand. Greg Kovacs' physical size was so impressive that beyond his achievements in the gym, his presence was unmistakable, standing at 6.3 inches tall and weighing between 328 pounds during competitions and 441 pounds in the off-season. There were not many bodybuilders who could compare to him in terms of muscle mass. This size, while impressive, also brought him certain inconveniences, such as difficulty bending over or performing some basic movements. In addition, his large body size caused him to sweat excessively, which forced him to carry a portable fan everywhere for relief. Greg Kovacs' impressive size was not only due to his rigorous training in the gym, but also to his unusual food consumption. The Canadian bodybuilder admitted that during the off-season, when he was not competing, his daily calorie intake was colossal, reaching up to 12,000 calories per day. Much of his diet consisted of meat, whey protein, and fast food, which allowed him to maintain his enormous muscle mass. He became famous for his ability to consume up to 4.4 pounds of meat and 12 heads of lettuce in a single day, along with 2 pounds of whey and a large amount of nuggets and hamburgers. This diet, although surprising, was a fundamental part of his regimen to achieve the muscle volume that characterized him. However, when the competition season approached, Kovacs tried to adjust his diet to make it more balanced. During these periods, his diet included more controlled foods such as rice, chicken, and eggs, reducing his calorie intake to around 8,000 calories per day. Despite these efforts, nutrition was always his Achilles heel, although his wife helped him follow a more appropriate diet. Greg had difficulty maintaining a strict diet and sometimes fell into unhealthy habits. This was reflected in some photos where his figure showed excess weight and a prominent abdomen, which was far from the sculpted silhouette of a classic bodybuilder. Kovacs' legacy was not only built on his imposing physique, but also on the passion and discipline with which he practiced bodybuilding throughout his life. Greg Kovacs began his competitive bodybuilding career in the 90s, quickly gaining notoriety for his immense height and formidable strength. He participated in prestigious events such as the Arnold Classic and the IFBB Pro League, but was never able to participate in the Mr. Olympia. In 1996, Greg Kovacs earned his IFBB Pro card, earning the title of being the strongest bodybuilder by winning the Canadian National Championships. His journey continued with appearances at events such as the IFBB Night of Champions in 2001, where he failed to qualify, and the 2004 Arnold Classic, where he finished in 13th place. Greg firmly believed that one of the most important aspects of his training was performing the exercises through their full range of motion. For him, this was not only essential to avoid compensations or imbalances in muscle development, but also to maximize muscle fiber activation. By focusing especially on the negative phase of the lift, the control during the lowering of the weight, Greg achieved greater tension in the muscles, which, in his experience, accelerated muscle growth. In addition, he insisted on performing a full contraction on each repetition, ensuring that the muscle was stretched and contracted to its maximum. Greg retired from competitive bodybuilding in 2005 to set up his own business and train aspiring athletes. Tragically, Kovacs passed away on November 22, 2013, around 9:50 p.m. at his condo in SGA, Ontario, due to heart failure. However, he left no children behind, but he did leave a career that cannot be denied. Greg Kovacs' story shows us that achieving a legendary physique requires more than brute strength. It is a combination of dedication, learning, and a strategic approach to every aspect of training and daily life. Despite his challenges, Greg left a legacy that inspires many in the bodybuilding world, proving that there is always room to grow and improve. What do you think of his approach to training and nutrition? Do you think his method is still relevant today? Leave us your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to Bodybuilding World for more content on the giants of bodybuilding. See you in the next video.